Tell me your story. When did you move to Azores?
I moved to Azores 3 years ago, but the first time I arrived here was 5 years ago. I was a tourist and traveled with a group. I was working in tourism industry, and we decided to go in Azores as a new vibrant destination that was promoted at the time.
Where it was promoted?
It was starting to be in the internet, in different magazines, and I remember that when I was looking for the new location, I was captured by the photography of the islands and of the lakes. Never saw something like that. And when I started to make my researches, I found that, wow, that's Azores, but where is it? Maybe it's somewhere near Australia. And then I found that it's Portugal, and me, as a person who was working in tourism, I felt like, oh, I have to learn more because I should know about it. And I brought here a group of nearly 30 people for travel, and I must say that we were so amazed by the nature, and we were so happy to meet that islands that are still European, but preserve the nature in such a way that we already hardly can find in Europe. After I came back to Italy, where I lived, and my business was changing, so we started to organize wellness programs. And when with my partners we looked for location where our retreats and wellness programs we can move from Europe, because it started to become a need to blend the nature for the wellness program and some infrastructure that also people need. And I immediately recognized that Azores was the best solution. If a business person, I was having some difficulties maybe, and it was a challenge for me, a challenge to persuade the groups to fly so far and in the land where they don't know what is this. And I will be honest, more than probably 50% of people, they didn't know where Azores is. And so I was explaining them a bit of geography as well. When we started to organize that here, I visited Azores more often, and I simply fell in love. So I found a school, a private school that I really liked, and they had a wonderful summer camp. The teachers were speaking English, so that was one of my first discovery that I amazed. Wow, that is an amazing school, a great innovative school. There is international kids, it's a private school, but from the other side, for our understanding of private school, it's very affordable. It's very affordable, plus the quality.
What the price, if you can share this?
I pay for preschool nearly €250 per month. And
what the quality of teachers?
To my opinion, the preschool, they have a system in that particular school where they put big attention onto the developing empathy between kids and the attitude between children. Also studies, and as well blending them together so they can arrive to the first grade with that kind of a kind attitude to each other. And because I can give example, my daughter, she went for 3 years with the same class, and they are now in the first grade, and they never had any fights, any bullying. At first, I think that Azoreans, generally I will call them Azoreans, yeah, Portuguese people are very kind and very, very sweet. I don't know how to explain it about the nation. They are very kind and supportive and helpful people, very calm. And I think they have this sense of empathy that you can even see in their music, in their culture, and they love children. That was my impression, that they love children and they give them a good care, good attitude, good education. Maybe for us they're a bit spoiled them, and because in Portugal is still very strong the family orientation and the family heritage. So they pay a lot of attention that the child is really nurturing and nourished, and all the families, like it takes a village to grow a child, so that's how it works still here. It's safe here. When everyone asks me what's the main reason, maybe there is something behind. For me, there is no criminality here.
Have you ever faced some crimes?
No, we don't have, but plus
even
it's
small ones?
No, even in the TV, in the newspaper, in TV channels, in radio, you never can hear any news about that there is homicides every day, violence, or yes, there are problems like in every society, but I must say that I am absolutely secure that my daughter will grow here in a safety community, in a safety environment. I must say now we have quite a nice and a friendly community. of parents and with children, and we interact because also the island is small. We want to support each other, and we always get this help from each other, even if we came from different background, different systems, different social statuses here, as because the social status for expats is different because we are all different and we are not very much responding to the local society. Sometimes I need to work with transportation companies, with the hotels, with the restaurants, and I'm very easily writing emails on English. I'm corresponding in English. In some situations I need to use Portuguese, my bad Portuguese, but until now I never had a problem. I have an accountant who speaks perfect English, the lawyer, the consultants, and all my local partners, Azoreans, they all speak English.
The Azores at all, as in the land is good for investment here?
Well, the good and let's say a difficult part of Azores is that it's still small. It's a small archipelago, and there are not a lot of opportunities here and possibilities in a major way that people may think, because it's a lot of preserved land here and preserved nature, and I'm totally for it. I think that this is very important to preserve this land. But I think that ecotourism is very popular here, and cultivating the land and creating and producing something organic and natural here that can also make a culture, plus giving jobs to local people and helping local communities to grow. And I think properties are also a good potential, because there are a lot of existing already properties and they could be transformed into a nice farm that can create something, and into a nice garden, a farm and a garden, or hotels.
What do you like the most here? So like 5 main things, or even if you can say 10.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's safe. Again, I feel safe and free here. I think that Portugal generally is the safe country, and maybe that explains why so many immigration right now is happening. I like the climate. I'm not very much a person who loves hot weather, very hot, and we never have in the summer higher than 30 degrees here. The summer temperature, the highest is 27, maybe 28. Yes, with the high humidity it's difficult maybe, but it's not really hot. And we have a very warm winter. Mild winter, it's 15 degrees, 17 degrees, 18 degrees. It's a little bit of rain to my understanding. Yes, Azores, it's a rainy island, but I like the changing of the seasons here in the terms of different weather. It's not always the same weather, so I like it very much here. And we don't have central heatings, it's true. That means that it's warm. I love the ocean, that we have the possibility in the island in 1 hour to get everything. We can go to the beach to swim, and then immediately we can go to the forest to run. And it's small, but it's not so small that you will feel yourself claustrophobic. Also, the island, I speak about San Miguel, is very different. And even if you live in the one side of the island, in the north side, and or on the south side, you're already like in a different countries. You feel it, not even the countries, but really areas with the climate different, with the landscape, because the landscapes are different. In the one part of the island is hills and mountains, and in the other island is just a plain. So you can choose really what you like. The landscape is so different. Plus, the beauty of the nature is overwhelming. Even after 3 years that I live here, I still can't get used to this beauty. Sometimes just driving the car, you can't imagine that this is the place you live, and it is like that. It's amazing. I think that we have a good food, the products, that it's a good variety of products. I like to go in the market. I used to go mainly to the market, not to the supermarkets, because...
Like some farm markets?
Yes, it's a very high culture of farming in Azores, and there are a lot of farms, private farms, and small and big, that grows different vegetables and fruits. Remote islands for me is a Robinson Islands, let's say. That I was in Flores and I was in Corfu, and I think the nature there and everything that you may meet as a natural environment is beyond any expectations and beyond any dreams. But also it's amazing that people are trying to develop tourism there, that they are coming in that islands as pioneers, and they create and they bring their knowledges So they create eco-hotels, they create healthy farms, restaurants. It's possible for us, even living in San Miguel, to travel to another island and to get a good quality of tourism without high standards, but at least a good hotel already. I think that not every island, but some of the islands already have 5-star hotels with their sustainability, and boutique hotels and eco hotels. So we have choices, and it gives a good opportunity to travel, to be in the archipelago. You are not bored, let's say.
And what you don't like here?
I think I don't like that it's the island, but it's my personal. I used to live in Europe, where you can drive with a car everywhere, like from one country to another so quickly. You take a highway. So here we need to take a plane if we want to go somewhere. And Lisbon, that is the most popular weekend trip. And I must say that when you live here already 2 or 3 years, you get used to it. Just seven or even more flights a day.
How long is the flight to Lisbon?
I think it's nearly 2 hours.
How many flights per day?
Well, before COVID, we had 7 or 8 or even more flights per day. I don't really remember, cannot promise, but 7 at least, with different air companies. So it was also different variations of prices. Plus, the residence in Azores has a fixed price. Well, Ryanair was flying here, so you can get a very cheap tickets if you think about it for, I don't know, €50 or €30 if you fly with TAP Portugal. It can be from 100 and higher. But we have Azores Airlines, the local air company, and if you're a resident, you get a fixed price on the tickets to Lisbon. So you need to book them in advance if you need to fly. When I fly in the early morning flight at 7:15 to Lisbon, and with the night flight I came back home in the same day. So I did my things in Lisbon and I came back home. Generally, about restaurants that I can say here, we have a great local restaurants that, as you tried the local food in Furnas, cozido, for example, something very unique. And we have a very good traditional tascas and tavernas that I'm myself going. I like to go in Ponta Delgada in several places like we go today. There is a cafe, kind of a gastropub, which calls Louvre Michelanese, that is very popular here because it has, they offering a new vibrant blend of local, let's say, local Azorean Portuguese food with also nutritive and vegetarian and vegan style with the fantasy, and it's very nice cocktails there. So you have a feeling that you are having something different. Sometimes we need something different. We have a wonderful, my favorite Italian gelateria, because I lived in Italy and I go there every week to eat gelato. I think it's the best. I think it's not an urbanistic place in the terms generally of the city. You know, if you move here maybe from Berlin or from New York or from London, where you had an access to the cultural events, to art galleries, to numerous cinemas, and that's kind of a lot of social interaction.
But I saw a good cinema here in the shopping center.
Yes, we have a cinema, yes, we have everything that needs, but it's not an urban place. You will not be in the middle of the social urbanistic life happening. I think we have a very good infrastructure here, which maybe people are not thinking we have. Usually, even my clients sometimes who are coming here for a longer period, they ask the same questions. Is there any hairdresser or manicure? And I organized a wedding here. It was the same question, but we have everything, and we have a lot of...
What the quality of everything?
Yes, the quality of everything is like everywhere. You need to find your preference.
Because, for example, in Flores, you cannot find nothing. In Corvo, you cannot find. It's 4,100 people and just one doctor there. So it's here in
San Miguel is the most developed island regarding the infrastructure. We have a lot of hairdressers. We have a lot of private laboratories for medicine. We have pharmacies. We have manicures. We have makeup. We have everything. I think that San Miguel is really big for that, and you may find what you need, but you need to try. Of course, the quality depends on your expectations. If you're moving from the biggest city, you will not find the quality of service here. So either you need to try many. Me personally, I think I'm a healthy person. I have some, like normal people, we are sometimes vulnerable, we get some diseases, but I get always help in the hospital. I get always help with the pediatricians. My daughter luckily is healthy. I think for kids, Azores is a good place because we have quite a good immune environment here. We have ocean, good air. She's not getting sick already 1 year.
But in cases of emergency?
Yeah, in cases of emergency, I know
there
that
are some small islands
we have we have a possibility that in the worst cases or when local medical departments cannot help, they fly people to Lisbon, to another clinics, including newborn. That was these cases are always even we hear them on the TV or in radio stations when this case happened. Yes, and the government covered that expenses if something happens. So that gives us also a security that, okay, whatever happens, you will get help.
Actually, today I get injured.
Yeah.
In the beautiful place, and it takes just 1 hour to wait a doctor, and they rather quickly get all the treatments, and it takes 1 hour, and I paid 130 euros, and there are no any lines, big lines. So as I saw, it was absolutely affordable.
If you're a resident, of course, you get a public access to the public health, national health. You don't need to pay if you get emergency. But also, even with the tourists, that sometimes happened in my experiences, everybody received help. Everybody received help quickly. Everywhere there are some maybe stories that that are not very successful, but in general, we speak about general. It's okay. We get everything we need here regarding medicine, but again, if you really have health issues and you know it before, it's better to investigate it more, because I know that in every country also is the different health system. So what is in the United States is different from what is in Italy, how you can get access to that, and I know that there are a lot of local people who fly to Lisbon to different clinics if they need or if they have possibilities. But if you're more or less healthy and you're okay, I think you get either private clinics here. We have various private clinics, not one. And it's very easy to get blood tests, for example, in a private clinic. You just go in the morning and then they send you by email the results of your blood tests. Diagnostics needs to have prescription from the doctor.
What about the dentists?
I think like everywhere they're expensive, but not with exaggeration. There are a lot of dentists here and a lot of clinics for that. And as well as I said, there are clinics with different diagnostics with all the possible equipment, but you need to have prescription, of course, from your doctor.
Can we emphasize that Azores is a common place to live?
Absolutely. I think that Azores is not even common place to live, but to my opinion, what's happening in the world right now, if you look on a bigger picture of that, it's one of the best places to live in the world, because we are safe, we have a great climate, we have sustainable living, we have amazing nature, infrastructure that needs good education, I mean good affordable education, plus activities for kids that me as a mother was important to choose. I think at the beginning it was maybe that place of retirement. But now, in the last years, as I already mentioned before, there are a lot of families with young children moving here because the island is growing, it's vibrant, and of course, what it means retirement. If you don't work, that's what you want to say, but there are people also who work from home now, so it doesn't matter where they live, or they just have income, and it doesn't matter how old they are. I think Azores is the place for everyone, for retirement and for families with children and for people who just love nature and sports eventually, because I also met people here who adore nature and they do love surfing, they do like running, cycling, trekking, hiking. This place is for everyone. It depends what are you busy with, what are you looking for, the good weather or the activities or work. Azores, each island is different as well. I think if people are retired, if they are elderly, they might need a special medical care more. At least they have to think about it, yes. I think that San Miguel is more developed in the terms of medicine, and in the other islands you need to look at every island, how is the medical system working there.
But Fayal should be also okay.
Yes, I think Fayal has a big hospital, hospital
and
for
the new one
Fayal, yes.
Now, yeah.
So it's a personal investigation of every person and to take care about their injuries and to understand that point. This is number one. And second, I don't know what are disadvantages. Well, transportation. Yes, you need to have a car.
How is it to get to the United States? No, I mean...
you mean transportation by the... We have still the direct flight to Boston from Ponta Delgada. Before we had experimental flights in the high season before COVID. We had experimental flights in the summertime from New York, was direct flights, and
But the Boston is a regular flight.
Yes, Boston is the regular
And
flight.
Canada
And Toronto. Yes.
Also
there was a flight from Terceira, I think, to Auckland in California before. I cannot.
To Auckland.
Yes, I can't right now be sure if they still exist. Probably not, but before, yes, it was.
And continental Europe. Like Frankfurt
and
London.
Frankfurt, yes. Now I think they finished the season. Was last flight 5th of October. Last flight from Ponta Delgada to Frankfurt. I don't know if they continue the season, but usually they have it every week or even twice a week. I don't know about the situation right now, honestly, with the COVID. How? Yes, we had Frankfurt, and then we had charter flights every summer from Belgium, Denmark, Holland. And we had, I think it was EasyJet flying from London every Saturday. I think that the transportation direct flights, that's it. But also it's a very good connection in Lisbon.
And there are no seasonal flights, it's just all the flights are regular and you can get easily to Lisbon.
And Ryanair
as
well. Also we have Ryanair every day flying to Lisbon. That is also a good economical opportunity that is flying still now. We have Ryanair flights that is having a good connection in different airports, so you can choose also which airport you want to go. Maybe you have a connection flight in the same airport, so you fly Ryanair all the way. Before COVID, I had a lot of friends visiting me with pleasure, my family, my relatives. We flew. I could go to Lisbon frequently at the weekends and come back. Now things changed, of course, and now it's a lot of uncertainty because you don't know how to travel, but it's for the whole world. It's not only about Azores, and I must say that in COVID situation, we are really lucky, and no matter what people would say, but I think that we managed that situation from March until now, and how the government, they controlled the situation with this pandemic for the little island, protecting the people was amazing, because we balanced to have not very high cases, we didn't have any crises, we didn't have any kind of waves, and we had lockdown at the beginning, but from probably June until now, we are having a good life. We are working without the masks outside. Our children have life. They go on activities. We try to control it, even if it takes some efforts from us as well. But from the other side, yes, the tourism get crisis. Yesterday I had, I think, a very active day because I was in the two different parts of the island. I went with my daughter to the national park in the forest that is 30 minutes away from here to walk our dog around the lake. And then we went to another part of the island by the beach to meet some of our friends. So in the one day we was in the forest, and then we changed the scenery immediately and we went to the beach, even if it's a little bit chilly, but we managed to stay in the costumes and swim a little bit, even if it's cooler weather. And then we went out to eat in a meat restaurant that we like to go in the weekends. I love very much two seasons here. Is winter. I really love winter because we have thermal baths and hot springs. And in the winter time, it's so great to go in the hot baths, which are inside of the parks, in some locations that we have. And the weather is still warm, so it's a great time to spend the winter, maybe similar to Japan, if you've ever been in Japan and you know that culture of onsens, that you are laying in the hot water in the winter time and you feel it's really great wellness. And we have in Furnas and we have in Ribeira Grande several the places where we can get that hot springs. Plus, in Azores is a very nice and beautiful seasons of flowers that we call, like I call them seasonal, and winter is the camellia time. We have nearly 500 types of camellia growing in the winter in botanical garden, and it's amazing. It's just a natural gallery, as I say, the gallery of the nature that you are living. And then it comes the spring, it's something new. The season changes. It's a bit cold, the spring in Azores, because we have different weather. But then in the springtime, you can go and do the whale watching, as in autumn, because it's the whale season, something new. We have celebrations. Well, before COVID, there was several religious, very famous celebrations here that are major. And it's a beautiful event to observe. It's something cultural and amazing too. So people here love to celebrate, and this feast is uniting people. If you live in a parish, and I must say that it was for me incredible to experience it one time, that everybody from the neighborhood was inviting all together to eat a common meal, like in the old times. They cooked that traditional soups, and you meet with your neighbors just sitting all together in some ambar that was created. You're feeling like you're living in the old times, but you're in a new time. So it's a balance of everything.
So you have tradition and Wi-Fi.
Yes, we have tradition and Wi-Fi. Yes, I think
Okay.
Wi-Fi is working okay here.
Okay, great.